The Thing, 1982, not the 2011 prequel. Yeah.
What about it, though, dude? What about it?
It's an Among Us horror movie where a shape-shifting monster is taking over a base in Antarctica. It had previously destroyed some, like, Swedish...
Yes. They were Norwegian.
I can't fucking remember.
Damn,
we're doing literally the like joke they were doing in the movie.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Actually, I think they were Danish.
Yeah,
no, they were Norwegian.
So basically the movie starts off with some guy in a helicopter shooting a fucking dog, and we're all watching the movie like, why the hell are they shooting his dog? What's happening?
Actually, it opens with that fucking flying saucer, which I was not expecting.
Yeah. Literally, the very first thing you see is a flying saucer going towards the Earth. But yeah, they're shooting a dog, and then we get introduced to the monster later on when the dog gets put in a dog kennel, and that's when the movie really starts picking up pace. But yeah, it's really hard to start somewhere specifically with this movie because there's just so much to talk about. But honestly, I thought it was really fucking good. I really enjoyed basically all of it. The actual like monster designs were really cool. They animated them super, super well. Like, I prefer that type of shit honestly over CG, especially like bad CG from that era. Even like the fucking 2011, man. I think the earlier one looks better than the 2011 movie. I watched some clips from that.
Like, it's all practical effects. I think for the most part, it all looks really good. There are like a couple ones here and there that don't look quite as great. But like some of the like really impressive shit later on when like the fucking dude's like head is like stretching off of his body and like falls down and shit. Like how the fuck do they do that? That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's lots of thought and practice.
That dog was a great actor.
Yeah, right.
Which one?
Yeah, just like stares like deadpan.
Which one
like,
do you think?
I was gonna say dogs. Anyway, not important.
Not important.
He did a great job of looking a little off. You know.
That was I didn't think about that in the moment.
Strange.
That's yeah, I guess that's part of the immersion thing. I legitimately didn't think of like how that dog was acting. Besides the fact I was like, man, this is realistic if this thing was an alien. One thing that I expected to go somewhere but didn't is when the dog bit like that one guy under the table, like if they were playing poker or some shit.
It didn't bite him.
Did it scare him or something then?
Yeah, it like brushed up against his leg and he didn't know it was there, so it spooked him a bit.
Because I was under the interpretation like the dog nipped him or something. I was like, oh shit, that's where it starts. That's where the spread starts. And then nothing happens. And then
where it started is when he went into that random guy's dorm room after the music scene.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think that's the case because that's the guy who was like the lumberjack looking guy, right?
We don't know who that was. It's ambiguous. I actually looked it up after the fact too. That was just some random fucking person. It wasn't even one of the actual cast members for like the base. It's just some random dude. So you couldn't even draw the conclusion of like from the shadow or anything.
Oh, yeah, see, exactly. I thought because they were trying to imply that the lumberjack looking guy with like the full beard and mustache and everything was like the first infected. But then obviously they end up killing him and he was completely fine, even though he was acting like super weird.
Was he acting weird?
He wasn't acting weird. He was just acting like really
he was on edge.
Really cautious of everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a red herring to me at least. But
that was the point.
Yeah.
Especially because I think he was just super cautious because he literally got called out. I think he knew exactly what the fucking doctor guy was talking about and why he assumed that. So it was probably like, okay, they're going to try to fucking kill me or something.
Yeah. I thought the movie was paced out really well. I thought the acting was done well. I thought the puppeteering was done very well. The effects and everything were very good. I will say towards the end, one thing that got me is they said they were going to go check on the doctor. I was like, okay, one of two things are going to happen here. The doctor's either going to be fine or he's going to be a fucking alien. But I was like, there's a possible chance he could be an alien, but like, what are the odds? Because he's separated. Maybe the alien doesn't know about it. What really got me though is when he actually did end up becoming the alien, and then fucking was building like the UFO out of like the helicopter or some shit. And then it like ties it all the way back towards the the middle of the movie where he's like smashing up the helicopter. So in like the moment we were like, oh shit, he's just trying to make sure nobody can escape and that they all die there. But like maybe like it puts that thought in our head like, oh shit, maybe he was the alien at that point and he was using that to try to build the UFO. So it was like doing a lot of like random placement, getting our minds like going back to like, was what we were thinking true, or maybe subverting expectations from the past, kind of thing. So
I mean, they it's do meant to be very ambiguous. Like when he's smashing up like their fucking controls or whatever to like talk to other people, it's like, well, it could be that like he's trying to like smash that shit up so that no one comes to help them, so like you know, more people don't get infected, or it could be the alien to stop them from getting help. You know, it's like.
Do you think he was the alien at that point?
I personally don't think so, because I think when he like destroyed the helicopter, he was also still human.
Yeah, I think that, but it's they left it very ambiguous when he became the thing.
I think, from my theory, is because you see him have the noose in the inside his little bunker. I actually kind of in the camp that he like consciously destroyed all of like their fucking communications and stuff as a human, and then got converted into the thing when he was out and kind of like undefended in that shed because of the noose. Yeah. Right? I think he set up the noose to try to kill himself before he could get got by the thing. But I think it got to him before he could do that, obviously.
That's a fair point, actually.
That makes sense.
And then he was trying to, you know, obviously have them get him back inside.
Yeah. Then the ending was also very good. There were far more people alive by the end. Also, the scene when he was like trying to figure out who was the thing. Like, that was a really good suspenseful moment. Like,
oh yeah,
how everybody was tied to the couch. Yeah, when everybody was tied to the couch, like, get me off this thing. I legitimately thought more people were gonna die there. But and then like that one guy that
instances in which their practical effects ain't so good, when it's just like mangling like a very obviously like a puppet of a guy or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do there though? To be honest, it's you know
really mangle a man. Do it for the sport, dude.
I don't know. But
on the other end of that spectrum, the two scenes with the first guy in the storage shed that got when the guy left, when they were like trying to process the bodies, when he was getting fucking converted, that was fucking horrible. By horrible, I mean like it was horrible to watch because it looked so realistic. And then the second one,
when he runs out in the snow and he does that fucking screech and his hands are fucked up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was fucking good. But no, one weird thing, maybe you guys can clarify this for me, or maybe I don't know if it was like a weird director's choice. Like that other guy had so much time to use his flamethrower because it was like the two guys. The one guy was trying to get it lit or whatever. He couldn't after like 6 times. Which at one point I was like, all right, it's a gimmick. And then at another point I was like, okay, this is actually probably turning into like a semi-realistic situation. But I was like, why did the other guy just fucking use his flamethrower? And he's like sitting there in like shock or whatever.
He's in fucking shock and disbelief.
Yeah, he's confronting like a horror beyond his wildest imaginations.
Yeah, I figured that was like one instance of like convenience in the plot, but maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was cool. The guy's face going back to that because I actually watched a little bit of the movie after the fact. Is the guy's face that is the thing in that final scene where they're doing the blood test. You can totally see that he knows that he's got. Because, like, you can see his face when they're about to, and he's like, just, like, let's get it over with. All the other ones are, like, really tense when they're doing the test, and he's just like, yeah, I already know what's going to happen.
To be completely fair...
Another fun little, like, note for that little section there is that all the dudes sitting on that bench there, they've all got a glint of light in their eyes, you know, which is something that's commonly done in films to, like, you know, just show a bit of that humanity. However, the guy who's infected, his eyes are just completely dull, you know?
To be honest, I remember that guy being in the movie. I don't remember his significance or who he was. So, like, I remember...
like, one of my only real gripes about this movie is I have no idea what anybody's fucking name is. And so when they're, like, constantly referencing other characters, I'm like, I don't know who they are, man.
Yeah. But, like, then at the end again, like, after they'd gone check on the professor, they left that one guy inside. And then the fucking power goes out. And then they're, like, assuming he's dead or whatever. Like, maybe he got converted. I was really actually surprised to see that they didn't kill him and they just made him pop up after the fact when everybody else fucking died. And also, big question mark on how the last dude fucking detonated everything and then escaped out with his life, because it was kind of assumed they were all just gonna fucking die there with the thing, but he definitely should have died in the detonation. I don't know if it's just me or not.
Oh, yeah, he definitely should have. That was a massive explosion.
Yeah, he definitely... There was no clear escape route for him.
I feel like for the most part, these characters do act fairly intelligently, and, you know, the mistakes they do make are very understandable given the paranoia and whatever.
Yeah.
One thing I do think that an intelligent group of people would have done in this scenario is they would have always been in groups of 3.
Oh, yeah.
Which they didn't do. They're constantly going off alone or with only 2 people, or like they are leaving a lot of opportunities for someone to get got.
I think a big reason for that is literally just because by the time they even start getting the opportunity to really comprehend what's happening, a lot of them have already been kind of taken over. So like their opportunities are, I don't know, like there's not enough of them to really even like divide evenly without them all kind of like camping out together.
Yeah, I know
I
one
do also
gripe.
think that there's like the added like like, you know, fear that if they are like with more people, like the more people they're around, the much higher likelihood they're going to be around the monster, and that's something that they would all kind of want to avoid as much as possible, I think.
Yeah. I know
They don't really know the nature of it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know one gripe that Jackson had at one point was it was like one of the scientist guys. He was like trying to find a cure or like find a way to distinguish, and he was like in the lab by himself.
The fucking computer program that he wrote to test the simulation and see how long it take for the fucking virus to spread throughout the whole world. That was pretty goofy.
No, like the other one though, when he was like coming out of the doorway and like the fucking thing ran by him. You know what I'm talking about? When the lights went out the first time.
I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about right now, though. But that simulation computer, now that thing was crazy.
Yeah, that was
a little too advanced for the time, I think. But
I think it wasn't super advanced for the time. I think it's like, why did he make like a big GUI application to simulate what it was doing, and like how does he know anything about this, and how does he even like infer how long it's going to take when it reaches the mainland? It's like just like, why did they even include that? It's really goofy.
Right.
Do you guys think it actually could wipe out all of humanity?
I don't think it'd make it past Antarctica unless a fucking rescue helicopter came by.
I mean, obviously, assuming it makes it to the mainland.
I think it could, just because, I don't know, I think the mass paranoia would be a huge proponent to it. Because, like, even if, like, you think, like, they could go around fucking torching everybody, and that's, like, the only real way they could solve the problem once you got to the mainland, because it's going to spread like fucking wildfire once it has access to a lot of people. And at that point, I think you're already kind of fucked.
Yeah.
You see, Tanner, the Thing actually draws parallels to the Red Scare, okay? Think about that one.
One of my questions is, can the Thing just, like, split itself voluntarily?
No. At least it wasn't shown to do that. It looked like it had to consume another person to be able to duplicate itself.
I imagine it probably can, but I don't know if we know that or not, because I think the point of it is that its powers are kind of supposed to be ambiguous.
Yeah.
I think the scariest thing about it is that it's actually like super intelligent. It's not like an animal or whatever. Like it can build fucking spaceships out of helicopters.
Yeah. That's one thing that it does say is that basically like the bigger it is, the smarter it is, because it's basically just like the accumulation of all of these different races and everything. It's kind of like absorbed over time. Which is why I was able to make that fucking saucer so quickly and like efficiently in the basement. But yeah, like the bigger it is, the smarter it is generally. So like the smaller ones, like for the example, the head that like spread the fucking legs. Most of the smaller ones, their main purpose is just to go out and hide and kind of just survive, while the bigger ones can go for like bigger plays because they know how to.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I think
also it had Keith David in it, guys.
Yeah, it did have Keith David.
Whoever that is.
For some reason, I thought you were about to say Kenan Thompson. I was gonna be like, Tanner, no, it didn't.
Why would I have said that?
Because I just heard the key, and I was like, come on, dude, you know it doesn't. Quit trying to pull that.
Tanner's trying to gaslight.
Lucas, what did you think of the Thing?
From what you guys have described it as, it sounds like it was pretty good for an 80s film. There were a lot of really good films released in the 80s and a lot of really bad films released in the 80s, and the comparison between the two is stark, so it sounds like this one did pretty good. Because when you see a bad 80s film, you know a bad 80s film.
Little did you know, Lucas, the thing was actually critically panned by just like, casual moviegoers and critics alike.
In the 80s?
It was only later that it really gained like cult classic status, and then it went on to just be remembered as like, oh yeah, it's a really good film.
Yeah, pretty much. It did horrible at the start.
Yeah, it was too violent and gory for moviegoers at the time.
It was also going against E.T., and there was like a pretty bad fucking like economic bullshit going on or something, or like something about the war. I don't know exactly what's going on. Something bad with society. So people were like,
I don't want to focus on gross shit.
Yeah, I don't want to see some disturbing fucking alien taking over the world thing. I want to see some cute story about some kids helping some little aliens.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think honestly one of my biggest pluses for this movie is just the tension it builds. Like once shit starts going down, it does a really good job of building and holding that tension throughout basically the entire movie. And because of that, I was just kind of like locked to it pretty much the entire time. I never really felt like there was any downtime, which I think is a huge plus for a movie like that.
Yeah, as odd as this statement might sound, I never truly lost interest while watching this movie. It kept me fairly engaged the entire time. Like I was constantly thinking, oh, what's gonna happen next? Oh, what does this mean? What did this mean before? Like, kind of kept in my mind thinking all the time. So.
All right, well, boys, what are we thinking of rating it? Jackson, you go first here.
I'm putting this solidly at S tier.
Sweet, no complaints here. Tanner, how are you feeling?
Yeah, this movie kicks ass. It's fucking awesome. I'm gonna give it an S tier.
Sweet. Dylan, how about you?
You know what? That sounds pretty good. I think I'll also give it an S tier.
Honestly, shocking. I wasn't expecting that at all.
Why?
This makes it a little awkward now, cause...
No, don't do this.
He's gonna get like an A- or some
Why
dumb
did you
shit.
think that I thought it was a good movie. I had no complaints.
I was just thinking like A+, personally.
Dude.
A+. That's
Dude,
crazy.
that's such cap.
That's an S-, I think.
He wants nothing to usurp fucking Egypt movie.
That's a strange.
What's
Is
the
that
top matter,
actually what
Jackson?
you're going with?
Yeah, I'm actually going A+.
Well, it doesn't fucking matter because it's a goddamn S tier movie anyways.
Holy shit,
Let's
it's our
go.
first S tier.
Whoa!
Yeah, it is solidly in S.
Yeah,
And it's the highest rated movie so far.
Nice.
Here's the thing: is I took consciously. You guys are like, you gotta make your complaints and your pluses match your rating, and I really didn't have a lot of complaints about this movie. So,
I mean, just because you don't
enjoyed
have
it.
a lot of complaints doesn't mean that it's like, fucking ascends to like godhood, Like when I think of like Surf's Up, I don't really have any complaints about it, but that doesn't make it an amazing movie.
Well,
It does have a lot of like overarching like plus.
we have different scales here that we judge off of, Nico. I've made that apparent.